Coach Toyin. How are you today? This is going to be a quick one. So, I'm very particular to what I want to share today. It's the promise and the process. And this is directed to faith based professionals. Okay. So, today's topic is really just very, very narrow focused. And it's a direct message to faith based professionals. It's the idea of the promise and the process because I do serve in my local church. In fact, there's a program I'm running. I'm going to start running this coming weekend. But anyway, so usually I try to keep um faith and work separately. But over the past few years and months, if you've been following me, you've seen me integrate both of them. I'm going to be doing that more. So today's topic is about the promise and the process. It's this idea that if you are a faith based, say, entrepreneur or professional in the workplace or a leader, many people are sitting on the promise, but they are not investing in the process. Many people are sitting on the promise of the future, the promise, the picture, everything that you know you ought to be, everything that you know you ought to be doing, who you are, who you're supposed to be becoming, right? That promise of the future, of the business, of the expansion, of the leadership opportunity, right? On and on and on. All of those things, people are sitting on it and they are waiting for magic to happen. They are waiting for, they assume, many people are assuming that the promise does not need a process, that the promise, right, doesn't require a growth opportunity for them. They are assuming that they will become without becoming, without going through the transformation that is required to expand. One of my favorite verses lately has been the verse around Jesus growing in wisdom and stature. Is that if you're not expanding in wisdom, in knowledge, in abilities, in skills, right? You're supposed to be expanding in that. You're supposed to be investing in learning. You're supposed to be investing in growing, in expanding your understanding, right? Particularly in the dimension that the promise is situated. So if you've been promised, for example, to be a political leader, if you see yourself, doing something in the political world, and yet you're not asking what's the process. If you've been asked, in your mind, you see yourself becoming a medical doctor, and you're not asking what's the process. If you see that you're supposed to be a lawyer and you're not asking for the process, the promise as a process, a defined process. And each person's process is unique, right? What you need to learn and what you need to know to function in the capacity God has for you is unique. So when I see people not busy learning, not busy growing, not busy improving themselves, not busy, and I'm like, do you know the promise? And then you find people procrastinating. They're not prioritizing the promise and the process. When you procrastinate, you are saying that you do not value it enough to do something about it today. And then you say tomorrow, and then tomorrow never comes. And so the promise doesn't show up because you didn't show up for it. You did not enlist in the process. So if you're, for example, you're supposed to be an army, a soldier enlisted in an army, and you didn't show up to practice, you didn't show up to discipline, you didn't show up to learn what the mission is, you didn't show up, and you still listen, guys, I don't know what we're trying, like, what's going on? What's going on? There's a promise and there's a process. If you're going on a trip, if I say there's a gift, if God says there's a gift waiting for you in California, and you refuse to show up to California, the gift is there. The promise is there. The promise is guaranteed. The promised land, if you remember, the promised land was guaranteed. It was a destination, it was a point, right? but they did not bank on the process required to claim the promise. That first generation did not seek, they didn't understand that they would fight for it. They didn't understand that they needed to discipline themselves, discipline their mind, get the right skills to fight the Goliaths they saw in the promise. They did not anticipate that there is an element and there's something required of them to lay hold of the promise. They made a ton of assumptions, and that's what I'm seeing a lot of today. The promise is there, the opportunities are there, the promotion is there, the business opportunity is there. But if you don't study branding, marketing, sales, the things I teach at toyimesiri.academy, right? Success principle, entrepreneurship skills, business, it's possible for you, but it requires skills, it requires knowledge, it requires you to develop capacity to help you function at that level. This stuff I'll keep, coming back to share that, but I have to go now. I'm actually teaching a class this morning, really an entrepreneurship class on lead generation, and when it comes to follower mindset, the types of followers that can help you grow your business, right? Because the first thing you need to do if you're an entrepreneur and you're listening to me, you need to realize that your products and services are consumers. Is it for consumable? Like, I'm not here to teach, right? But I just want to give you just an insight now. Is that on social media, you have consumers and producers. You need to decide your products and services. Is it for consumers? Meaning people who buy your product and services for their own consumption, nothing, they don't change and they don't use it to change anything in their life, right? When you buy a shoe, the shoe is not asking you to change your thinking, it's not asking you to change, right? It's not challenging you to transform. It's a simple transaction, pleasures, luxury, you exchange it. But if your product and services is for producers, creators, creative, right? Is that product and service also needs to be transformed. So you're going to be challenging people to invest more, not just in buying your product or service, but actually in the final process. So I'm going to stop there. So there's a different way to market and communicate with different groups of people on social media. And then I'll also dive into 3 different personalities on social media and the one that is most likely to help you build your business. Okay. So I'm going to wrap up now. I just want to leave you again with the promise and the process. If you're a faith-based professional, listen, the promise is guaranteed. That's God's part. The process is your own part, partnering with God, right? Is that if you want to go on a trip, right, you still have to get it. You still have to get everything you need to make sure you arrive safely at your destination to get all your promises. And really, at the end of the day, that process is unique to you. For me as an entrepreneur, it's also helping people fast track and accelerate that process. If the promise they see in their mind is they want to build globally relevant brands, they want to build a world-class business, they want to make money, they want to build wealth, they want to grow their influence, right? They want to grow their power, they want to impact the world, on and on and on. For me, that process of becoming, right, a business owner, that's what my academy supports you, right? That's what my book, Mindset of an Entrepreneur. If you're transitioning from corporate to become an entrepreneur, making that transformation, that transition, right, that process, the caterpillar becoming a butterfly, the quantum leap, accelerating it for you with my programs, my coaching, my school, my 10-week accelerator. That's what it is, because there is a process of going from employee to become an entrepreneur. There is a process. Your mind must change. Your skills must evolve. You must level. There is a process tied to it. That process may take you 10 years, may take you 5 years, may take you 2 years. For me, what I'm coming to support entrepreneurs is to shorten that distance, to teach them what I know and what I do to help them achieve success faster and sooner, right? To accelerate that process of becoming a business owner, a successful business owner. That's what this is about. But when people want to skip, yeah, the process is the process again. Until you learn what you need to learn, until you learn it, listen, you still don't know what you need to know. That's why I always say learn fast, learn fast. that ultimately is going to help you master the skills, and the best results belong to the master. In any field, you can apply what I'm sharing now to your day job, right? I talked about soft skills last week. Soft skills is the secret to next level results in your business. You want a promotion? Listen, it's not about technical skills anymore. So that's it. Kabbalah guy said you can't skip the process. Yeah, even see, skipping the process, an attempt to skip the process is actually denying yourself. You're letting yourself down. You're not listen, God will not let you down. God will never let you down. His promise is his promise. But you can let yourself down. Government, you know, the people who say they them, the government can let you down, the community can let you down, family can let you down, friends can let you down. The worst part is when you let yourself down, when you disappoint yourself, when you did not do what you're supposed to do for you. That's the worst. Listen, everybody out there can walk away. But if you continue to self-sabotage, you continue to procrastinate, you did that to yourself. Miss Kabbalah, okay. Miss Kabbalah guy says, the game plan is truly something I feel is an underrated program you have. The mental work is fundamental. Thank you for that. So for those who may not understand or know what Miss Kabbalah guy is saying, the game plan 1.2, there are two series now. The 1.2, 12 strategies for winning in life and business, is the mindset coaching program I support my students and my clients with in my school, toyinyumesi.academy. Okay. So that program really helps you develop the mindset to achieve success, to accelerate your journey to business growth and success. And it comes as a 3-hour masterclass plus your personal life strategy workbook. In fact, Ms. Kobolaga, just last week, one of the new students that I enrolled, when we were doing our one-on-one catch-up, she said, Toyin, she said, actually, she said, Coach Toyin, right? She was like, this 10-week accelerator, I'm going to need more than 10 weeks. I'm still on week 1, which is the game plan, the mindset. Said this alone, I'm sitting on it. And she's the one that called. She said it's not just a personal strategy book. She said that it's a life plan. That's what she said. I took notes, and when she was saying it, I said, let me put this down. Say it's a life plan that she doesn't want to rush it. That listen, that 10-week accelerator, and I told her the 10-week accelerator was actually planned and it was put together in a year, right? Miss Kobola guy would know what she went through last year with me, right? But now I put it together as a 10-week accelerator. The reason I use the word accelerator is you can fast track what it took us a year to develop and design and teach live, right? You can now complete it, but you have to dedicate at least 3 to 4 hours to do the work each week, right? On average, between 2 and 4 hours on average, depending on the program. And then, but you have to dedicate. So if you can't dedicate that, or if you want to slow it down, you can go at your own pace. But the 10-week, right, is a firm design. It guides you each week. It rolls in, right, what you need to do for the week. And the way it was designed, right, what took us a month, say 5 weeks to deliver. So part 1, part 2, part 3, for example, branding has like 5 weeks, I think. It's like part 1, part 2, part 3, part. Each of them were developed and put together each week. But now you can finish the 5-part series in a week, right? So the game plan, Miss Kobala guy, it's a life-changing program. Because like I shared, I'll teach technical skills, but mindset is always in the way. How you think matters to your success, right? Your perception awareness matters to your success. The soft skills you have, how you perceive the world, how you're approaching the world, what you believe about yourself, confidence level, right? Do you have the champion mindset? I'm not even saying average confidence. No, I'm saying become a badass, right? Become a badass, because everything you listen to conquer, to attain the promise, whatever God has showed you in your mind, it doesn't belong to an average version of us. It doesn't belong to an average version of you. Check yourself. Everything you're seeing, who you need to become, is not average. Don't give God average. Don't give God average. He deserves more. He's giving you his best. Give him your best too. Go through the process to become. Miss Kobalagai says, yup, it's the dedication, because that school of yours requires deep thinking, but the outcome is amazing. Yes, this is someone that has gone through that process telling you, not me, because I would say mine, but it's better if somebody else tells you. If one of my students, clients tell you how their life has changed. But I will continue to support those who want to, right, fast track their process of becoming, right, who they need to become to attain that level of success. And I'll continue to tell you, there's the promise. You know the promise. You know who you are supposed to be. Everybody knows the seed of greatness is in you. You know your power. But does the world know your power? Have you demonstrated? Do people around you, how do they, if I interview people around you, who would they tell me you are? Because that's the job. That's the gap. Listen, that's the gap. If the world doesn't know you yet, if your world doesn't recognize your giftings and your talent and your impact, listen, you've not gone through your transformation. You are still showing up less than you ought to show up. Because when you attain the promise, this promise that God has for you, you can't hide it. I don't think so. I don't think you can hide it. And that's why we'll tell you, get out of your comfort zone. If you're still too comfortable, because that level of the promise will make you uncomfortable. You will become uncomfortable. Everything making you comfortable. You know, when Peter said, can I come? You will step on the water. You will stretch yourself. You will think deep. Yes, Miss Kobalagai, my program stretches you. My program will stretch you. It will stretch you. The process stretches you so that you expand your capacity. You know, I always say that opportunity is like a river. Some people are taking spoon to go and fetch those opportunities. That's capacity. Some people are taking cup. Some people are taking a bucket. Some people are taking a trailer. Some people are taking, Elon Musk is taking jet fuel. So if you don't stretch your knowledge, your capacity, your skills, you are still dipping into the river of opportunity in the world. You're just tasting. You're tasting opportunity. But God is telling you have places to go, things to do, people to see, important people to see. Impact to make in the world. And you're sitting still. For example, right? I've always been telling you guys, I know, listen, I'm on my own journey. I'm just here to share a few things. Literally, I'm onboarding 1,000 people from 54 to 55. It's always 54, 55, African countries, right? There's some controversies on one of them. But literally, I'm working in partnership with the government, with governing body of continent, African continent, to onboard 1,000 entrepreneurs from let's just say 54 countries. But I had to build a capacity for that. I had to go through a process. I had to prepare. You know, Jesus would say, I go to my father to prepare a place for you. In my father's house, there are many mansions. Then he will come and take us there. That process is kind of like that. Is that the things you ought to do, the impact you're going to make in the world, you've got to build capacity to be able to make that impact. Because if you don't build yourself, and if you don't build the vehicles for your impact, the systems, the strategy, you will not be able to have that level. Listen, I'm telling you, I teach what I do. I share all the strategy, I put it in my school. For those who want to learn and listen. I had to go on a journey of building an entire school. I used to teach one-on-one, coach one-on-one, do all those things. But I realized, listen, if you're fishing with a rod, how many fishes can you catch in a day? If the level of impact God is saying I will have, is it what? No, listen, we have to travel further in. We have to cast a wide net. So I had to build my own system. That's why in my school, I'll teach you how to build systems, business systems. I'm teaching what, listen, you are just watching me. I teach what I do. I wouldn't tell you to do anything I don't do. Uh, Ms. Kobalaga said, listen, I try to hide in the comfort of my cushy job in Dubai, then in the comfort of only simple things when I started the business. And then what happened? Let me finish your story. But God, Miss Kamala, but God, I knew that story wasn't finished. But God puts what I'm doing now on my heart years ago. Now I've had to get comfortable with being uncomfortable to expand the business. I had to truly accept that I am not average. That was truly hard. Miss Kabalaga, exactly. And I remember our one-on-one, right? I remember our one-on-one clearly, where I was pushing, I was pressing your buttons. I was pushing it, pushing it, pushing it. I was like, you are great. You are great. You are great. You just need to see it. You just need to claim it. You just need to embrace it. And that's one of the challenges many people are facing today. You're not comfortable with your own power, influence, and audacity. You're not comfortable. That's one of the problems. You're not comfortable being who God has called you to be. So you are appealing to a lesser version of you. You know, one of the symptoms, you are trying to fit in the box of the people around you. You are staying small so that you are not displaced. Listen, this process will displace you. The promise and the process will displace you from your comforts. It will totally rock your boat. Okay, I need to wrap up, guys. Class starts now. I need to go to my school and teach. Hi, Toyin. Great Wednesday, everyone. Great greetings. Any thoughts, any additional thoughts before I head out? Listen, those who are online, stay online. If your process is tied to social media, stay there. But I know my own process, my clients, my students, social media doesn't gift you the heavy transformation that you need. It doesn't give it to you. So that's why people can stay on social media 5 years, Netflix and chill, scroll all you want, skip, skim, picking pieces. And guess what? Your time goes away. The time is an opportunity for you to create impact and complete your transformation. So people are not enrolling in the right process. They think social media is not the process. Social media is to take your time away from you. If you are not using social media to advance your goals, social media is using you, your time, energy, and focus to advance its own goals. Go and look at the numbers of all the platforms, how much money they are making. They will use your time, your energy, and they will sell it. And that's okay. Give a little bit to it. But I'm saying, what are you gifting? How are you running your race? What process are you going through? And this is why people are not prioritizing their process, and they are assuming that minimal crumbs and bits. Listen, don't give God the list. Listen, don't give God what is not of substance to you. Don't do that stuff. You are kidding yourself and you are delaying. You are delaying. Listen, if you need to get to California, and instead of going straight to California, you are stopping in 10 rooms on Clubhouse or 100 rooms on Clubhouse. And you are following 1,000, 10,000 people. And you're every day, you're scrolling past 10, 100 scrolls. When will you arrive in California? When? Never. You know why it's never? Because Google has a direction, a clear direction, turn right, turn left, that you're supposed to follow. God has a process for you. You're supposed to follow. When you don't follow God's process, go and read your Bible very well. And you go left. When God says turn right, and he says he's trying to recalibrate you, and you are insisting, at some point he will say, you know what, prodigal son, go spend all your money. When you arrive, you have to actually mentally arrive and say, you know what, I subject myself to the process. I'm going back home. I'm going back to my father's house. Listen, in my father's house, there are men. You will remember who you are. Where until you remember your true identity, you won't snatch your life back from social media and all these vices and distractions. The distractions are bound. They are so many, they are so fierce, they are so addictive. And then the worst part is it will make you feel like you are becoming. But the truth is, tell me, how far have you really gone? Doing everything you've been doing, how far have you really gone? It's listen, I'm just don't be upset with the messenger. I'm just saying check the mirror again. You are doing this to yourself. I'm just saying check in with yourself. Assess your own action, your own thought patterns and behavior. Assess yourself and say, is it in line? Is it in line? Because for me, I'm really clear. I only want people who have a sense of urgency. If you don't have a sense of urgency, you are not enrolling in a process that is accelerated. When I use the word fast track, accelerate, right? Quantum leap, only those who want to arrive sooner will take the plane. Right? The plane costs something, but it ensures that you save time. Now, a typical plane, not the ones that you sit in the plane for hours and hours and they are delaying you. I'm using this as an analogy that the transportation, how you navigate your own process, can be normal or accelerated. I serve as a catalyst. I will totally speed it up. There's a process, there's a transformation you have to go through. Do you want to go through it in 5 or 10 years or 20 years? Many people never arrive. Go and sit with people older. Listen to them. You will see the clear differences. Some will tell you, I'm proud of myself, what I'm leaving behind, my legacy, my impact. They'll tell you the story of what they use their life force to create in the world, the impact. And you see them smiling, you see their grandchildren, the stories of their exploration in the world. Fantastic. Go to another group. Woo! If only. How I wish those two groups, right? They are there. Sit down with them and then decide which group do you want to be on. That's when you realize that time must not be wasted. Time is of essence. When they say time is money, not to everybody. Time is actually greater than money. And time is a gift to you. You didn't create it. You cannot speed it up. You cannot slow it down. It's ticking and God is checking in. What did you do today? Yeah? This Kabbalah guy said there is time for everything, a time to sow and a time to reap. Going through the process is sowing. But just imagine, okay, this is Kenechukwu, not Kabbalah guy. Okay, Kenechukwu saying, right? There's time for everything. Time to sow, time to invest, time to reap. But everybody wants to reap. Everybody wants the harvest. Nobody wants to go through the process. That's what I'm talking about today. If there's a promise, abundant harvest, right? Wealth, right? Influence, power, whatever God has promised you. I don't know what it is you do. It's between you and him. And you are not asking him, what do I need to what do I need to do to make sure I align myself to that promise, that I become somebody that will make you proud, God, that will be able to do all these things you're telling me I'm going to do. That's the checking with yourself. Do you currently have the abilities, right? Right? David needs to slay Goliath. What if David never practiced how to slay lion and the bear, how to kill lion and the bear? What if he never practiced? What if Joseph never practiced his skills? He was going to serve in the prime minister's house. What if he never practiced, right, the skill of allocation of resources, of making sure all that is put in his charge are well taken care of? Resource allocation, resource management. Yes, Joseph had that incredible skill, exceptional skill. What if he never practiced it? What if he never became? What if he didn't go through the process of training and to develop the capacity such that it would be useful to the prime minister of his time? So the skills that will be useful to the prime minister of your time, to your CEO, to your country, to your neighborhood, to your community, to your church. If you don't practice that skill, please, if you don't go through the process, trust me, there's the promise, but I'm telling you, there's a process. And I'm speaking as one. I am, okay. I'm telling you guys, I am learning, I'm sharing with you what I have learned, because the process is what they won't tell you. You receive the promise and the blessing. God said, Genesis 1:28, he laid out the promises and blessings. But how are you going to dominate? That's the process. That's the process. That's the process. What skill do you need? What sector are you going to lead? What impact are you going? Listen, you stay without developing or maturing yourself, your knowledge, your skill. You did that to yourself. When God says, oh, okay, here is the promised land, fight, go in and conquer, and they didn't develop skills, you know, that mindset of complaining, wah, 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 Moses, wah, 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 oh, this, that's what many people are doing today. Complaining, oh, you came to the, oh, it's the government, oh, because this is this, then I will not do this. I tell you, the government can fail you, your community can fail you, your family can fail you. I'm saying don't fail yourself. Look at Joseph's story. Family failed him, forgotten, he put in a pit, but he kept showing up. The promise, he made sure he started showing, he kept showing up. He didn't give up. He didn't say, oh, because my brother did this, my did this, so I will not do this. I'll fold my hands. I won't do anything because it was in the day. He did not fail himself, and he didn't fail God. In fact, he got him into trouble with Potiphar's wife. Even right there, he still said he will not fail God. He still said he will not fail God. So while you are saying they, them, look in the mirror. What are you doing to your own future? What are you doing to yourself? What are you investing in yourself? Leave people alone. Leave the government alone. Leave family alone. Leave community alone. Leave church members alone. Face your own. Face your own. The assignment God has for you, your own process, face it. Because once you face it, God will bring helpers. Okay. He's coming and say, preach, Coach Toyi. Listen, I'm wearing. Okay. Yes, I'm preaching more and more. I'm preaching, guys. I'm preaching. Because we need true talk. We need to tell ourselves the truth. If we can't tell ourselves the truth, guys, where are we going? There's the promise. God has given you a promise. There's a promise, but there's a process. There's a promise, but there's a process. The promise, God asks for you. The process is your partnership with heaven. And you will invest. That process will require your time, your dedication, your full attention, your focus, your fight. Fight. Has anybody told you have to fight? Fight for you. First of all, you fight yourself. Listen, it's not even out there. First of all, that's what the game plan is for. The internal shift you have to make sure you are not the one doing all this to yourself. That's where the most important, Bible talks about self-control. It doesn't say government control, no, the biggest fight right now is to control your own behavior, thinking, emotions, energy. Because that's all you can bring to the work and assignment you have. But when your mind is here, your heart is there, your energy is there, you are divided, and a house divided against itself cannot stand. You are in a place you shouldn't be. You are giving your time to things that will not give you any return. You are engaging in relationship that is messing up your energy and deplete. You have outsourced your heart and mind, the very factory and GPS for your life. Jesus said, guard your heart. out of it are the issues of life. But you're not guarding your heart, you're giving it away to social media, to skip and scroll, to all these things. And you wake up at night and you ask yourself, what did you do with your 24 hours? What did the 24 hours bet for you? 24 hours is a gift from God. It's an opportunity, time and space to do work. You're here to work, guys. And in case you forget, there's a scripture that says everybody's work will be put through the test and fire. Your work will be tested. Okay, I'm loving Miss Kovala guy today. She said, there's something wonderful about when I look back and see how far you've come. What I found is more I invest myself, the easier it becomes to know what is a good investment. Yes, you know, this brings me to something. I need to wrap up, guys. I've Miss Angel, come up before I. Oh my goodness, there's a lot of chats here. Okay, I don't want to lose my train of thought. Consciousness. That's what I want to talk about. You just triggered me to. You brought to my mind consciousness. So let's keep that. Let me quickly read some things. Miss Angel says, join the academy. Please, everybody, let's start that mantra. Join. Academy. I am Lady B says, you have said it. If you're not using social media to advance your goals, social media is using you for its own good. Yes. And those who own it, they are winning any day. Everybody, right. The game plan 12 strategies for winning in life and business is helping you win. I use the word winning on purpose. You don't enroll in a game to lose. How are you going to guarantee you win? As a strategist, listen, I've started as a strategist to the biggest, largest company in the world. Nobody starts a business to lose. No. Game on. You bring the biggest, the best. Listen, they employ the best of the best to do the work so that they can win. And that's why they're winning. And I'm saying you, are you the best employee? Listen, have you become the best? Are you the best person to undo the promise God has for you? Become the best. Say you are can you say within you, you've given it all you've got? That you've given the promise, all that you've spent yourself in pursuit. Jesus spent everything. Because it's going to cost you all. All. I don't know why, I'm just telling you. But those who are doing one leg in, one leg out, listen, you will get one leg in, one leg out. What you put in is what you get. You want to taste, you just want to explore that promise. Listen, the promised land and the Bible, the spies, they got a glimpse, but they didn't situate themselves in the promise. A glimpse of the future is not the future. I am saying, I want to enter in, I want to eat it, I want it to be my domain. Some people will just say, let me test it. Let me test that business. They test it. And they're like, oh, there are giants in the land. This thing is too difficult. It's too hard. And then they run back. That's okay. Because nobody told you you fight to claim and expand territory. That influence is not something you are given, that you assert yourself. You make room for your thoughts and ideas, that you expand. Nobody told you that. So you try entrepreneurship and you run back. So the spies went in, 10 of them complained, so they went back. Those things, start reading scripture through your own life. You will realize that those things are still happening today. So consciousness, I'm still going to talk about that. I am Lady B says, money you can get back, but time once spent, you cannot get it back. And in fact, you will give accounts for time. Nobody talked about that anymore. Nobody talks about that when God gives you time, the parable of the talent, his gifts, everything is given, deposited in you. He wants return on his investment. The time he has given you, listen, you will account for it. You will account for it. If you're a believer, know this. Okay. Angel said, I wish I could speak at my work. No problem, no problem. That's okay. And listen, I've gone over time. I have a radio interview in 9 minutes, and then my class, I'll do that after the radio interview. It's about lead generation strategies to use social media for business growth. Okay. I literally, because I have my school, I'll literally move things around. So anyway, but I have a radio interview for my book coming up soon. So consciousness, let me wrap up with consciousness. Oh, Miss Nikki says, please join the academy. That's another Miss Nikki. Listen, I need to bring all of you on, those that have gone through the school, so that you can be explaining to people. Like one of my new students last week, I did a one-on-one with her. She was like, the game plan, I'm staying with this one. I'm not rushing it. I'm not rushing because it's a life change. And when you change and you expand and you grow, everything around you will expand because you become a different person. You cannot be taking all those stuff anymore. Okay, consciousness. Let me go back to Miss Kobala guy. There's something wonderful about when you look back and see how far I've come. What I've found is the more I invest in myself, the easier it becomes to know what is good investment. So, what I wanted to talk about consciousness is that when you think about a 5-year-old, a 15-year-old, a 30-year-old, a 50-year-old, right? Is that our awareness about the world is not the same. When you're 5, when you're 15, when you're 25, when you're 30, the way the human mind is shaped, when people talk about consciousness, I know there's a lot of new age stuff, but I'm going to bring it home to the Christian faith, is that how much we know, let me use that term, how much you know about the world, how the world functions, even about yourself, is supposed to continue to grow and expand. When you were 5-year-old, what did you know about the world? What did you know about your consciousness? Was limited. You were operating life based on limited understanding, awareness. Okay? You became 15, 10, 15, teenager hormone goes in. Your consciousness, you're still aware. So you're still confident, but you are limited. You don't know. Here's the key. The 15-year-old doesn't know, is not yet aware, is not yet fully aware, but it has 100% knowledge of its own 100% awareness. So they think what they know is what there is to know in the world. That is all there is to know in the world. Until you move further in life, you become 25, you start your own start a job. You now start realizing, whoa, I need to learn more about job. I need to learn more about being parents. I need to learn more. There's always something more to learn. But here's the danger. Many people arrive in 50, but they arrive with the 20, right, 30-year-old consciousness. They haven't grown past when they graduated in school. They are still functioning based on the knowledge that was put in the degree, the books they read in high school, and the things they've just opened their mind to, right? Maybe church verses, things your church, your pastor is preaching, maybe things they say in your workplace, right? Is because experiences shape you and they're supposed to expand your knowledge. Like if you're a world traveler, your consciousness about travel, how to handle travel, where to go, places, is more expanded than somebody that is not a traveler. So when you now realize that people haven't left their their code, their zip code, mentally and intellectually, they're still governing their life based on exposure level, knowledge level, and that's all. That's all. And they don't realize that this whole world, there's more knowledge, expanse of knowledge, expanse of consciousness. This is why if you don't pursue knowledge by wisdom, if you do not put yourself in a very, very unnatural space and stretch yourself in a very uncomfortable space to go and learn, you don't know. Like, listen, last week, I totally flew into DC. We were not too far from White House. And listen, I was at an event to speak, but in the room, government, listen, I will invest myself. Because if you're not in that room, you don't know what's up. You don't know what is going on in the room. Every room you're not in is a room that you don't have knowledge about. If you're not in my academy, you don't know what's going on there. You may think you do, but you don't. Until you step into new dimension, until you courageously step forward to explore new insights, new opportunities, and hear what other people are doing, the businesses they're building, how they're taking their businesses to the next level, how government is serving them. until you go in and you sit on those councils you don't know. Until, like, I serve on a board, I serve on council. The conversation is not social media conversation. It's not skip and scroll clubhouse. No, it's not. So if your consciousness is still social media, clubhouse conversation, it's still limited, guys. But if you think that is enough for the promise God has for you, that's fine. That's fine. But if the promise tells you you're going to work with government, tells you you're going to do this, tells you you're going to have a school, tells you you're going to do, what are you do? You better hurry up and build those relationships. Okay? On that note, bye. I really have to go. There's a radio station going to be calling me in like seconds from now. Thank you, everybody. God bless you all. Bye for now. Check out toyumesivi.academy. That's where it's happening.